Man, my videos are missing something. I need to emulate myself because who wants to see this? We need better quality than this.
Well, we'll see how this goes.
If people don't like it, we can always go back to the original state.
I did remember to emulate to put save states in here, right?
I'm not stuck like this forever? Hey everyone, how's it going? To Level here with another discussion video, this time talking about emulation and why I use emulators. So, I just want to say thank you everyone to my last discussion video for talking about when video games change their formula. That got a lot of great responses and a lot of great comments, so thank you for that. That was really awesome to read everyone's kind of thoughts on that, right? So, yeah, and that's what makes me want to do these discussion videos, because they are fun to do, and yeah, it's cool to get everyone engaged, right? So, want to talk about kind of why I use emulators, because I've been seeing quite a few videos lately, like Jay from SquarePegs recently did one, and things like that, right? So I just want to give my own take of why I use emulation. And for me, like, I use emulation for basically the 6th gen consoles and below. I don't really use anything modern, you know, no like 360, PS3, PS4, PS5, or Switch, or anything like that. Like, no, I don't do any of that, and I'm not really going to go into details why or whatever. Even Wii, I only do, like, I think there's only like 1 or 2 games I emulated. I haven't even really dabbled into them too much, but yeah, like, won't really go into details of that, because I've had some rough discussions with people about that as to why I don't use emulation for modern stuff, and yeah, it's just kind of, yeah, I don't need that right now, and that's where I'm going to ask everyone to just be very respectable to everyone in the comments. You know, you might agree with me of how I use emulation, you might disagree with me, you know, you might be very against emulation and everything like that, and that's perfectly fine. So, you know, just don't attack anyone, and yeah, keep all your comments, you know, respectful to one another. So, with that, I think I'm just going to kind of go through little list, bullet points of kind of why I use emulation to kind of keep this video around that 10-20 minute mark, just like my last discussion video. So, first thing I want to talk about, and yeah, like I said, it's going to be basically Gen 6 and below, or for handhelds, it's everything but like basically the Vita, because yeah, I haven't really dabbled into Vita stuff. I didn't really feel the need at the moment right now, so yeah. But anyways, so first thing kind of talk about is why I use it is just the convenience of it, along with quality of life improvements. So convenience wise, like, you know, have all these games I would love to own, like all of these, but you know, kind of hard, you know, it's pretty much impossible money-wise and all that, which we'll get into that too, but, you know, having all these games with all these consoles, and you have to find all these different power bars, you know, so that you can hook up multiple consoles at once on your TV, and then, depending on if you're like me and don't have, like, a CRT or anything like that, you have to find different conversions to make sure these games play through HDMI and everything like that. It can be quite the hassle, right? Along with, you know, you just finish a game and now you want to play another one, so you have to, you know, take the disc out, put a new one in, and things like that, which, yeah, you know, sometimes you just want to pick up and play a game quickly, right? So, yeah, the convenience of just having kind of on your PC, at least for me, this is how I do it. I don't really have hardware emulators, like, except for the Retron 5. I pretty much use my PC for all that sort of stuff, so, you know, it's just nice having a folders list of all my ROMs, and then I can just kind of pick and choose when I which games I play at which times, and you know, it's just nice to have everything all in one pile, or something like this with the Kin Hank Super Console, right, where you have all this list of games, and, you know, where this console doesn't play the 3D ones too well, at least in my experience, but the 8 and 16-bit ones, it plays really well, so it's really cool to just pick some Game Boy game or something like that and just play, right? And then once you're done, you just quit out that and pick a new game, right? It's just nice that way. Or it's the same with the Nintendo Switch Online, where something like that too, where, you know, I want to play Super Mario World. Well, even though I have the original game, a lot of the times I go on my Switch to play that game because it's just right there on the Switch, you know, and if I want to play a different Super Nintendo game, just exit out of that game and go into a new one, right? So that's definitely a big part for me. And then the quality of life stuff, which, again, yeah, Nintendo Switch Online or a lot of these emulators will have save states, which is really nice, especially for someone like me who loves RPGs, right? And you want to play an older RPG, and, you know, sometimes those save points could be hours apart, right? Maybe not quite that dramatic, but they're pretty far apart, and you'll get into certain scenes where, you know, you're stuck in a cutscene, then you do a boss battle, and if you die in that boss battle, you have to reload and see the cutscene all over again. So it's just nice having something where it's like, okay, reload that state, or, you know, sometimes you have a rewind feature too, so yeah, it's just nice. That's why I like what you know, when Sony does add PS1 and PSP games to PS5 and all that, it's nice having those ones too. I wish Sony would do a bit more with that sort of stuff, but that's here or there. But yeah, that's kind of number one, or, you know, probably one of the biggest reasons why I do emulation. And then another reason is kind of my own game preservation in a way, because what I mean by that is, you know, every time you play a game and, you know, it's a disc and everything, it has wear and tear, right? So sometimes when you have a game where you know it's like a few $100s, you don't necessarily want to put it in your PlayStation or anything like that, right? You just want to kind of use an emulator, since you're like, well, I already have this game and I want to play it, so I'll just play it this way so that I can preserve the game and keep it nice and shiny and things like that, right? So that's definitely another big part for me. And then the next thing is for sure money, you know, because just talking about expensive games, and yeah, a lot of games, like I want to check out so many games, or games that I've had in the past but don't anymore, and, you know, some of that isn't even my fault. Like I talked about this before, where a lot of my GameCube collection was sold behind my back, including two big games of Fire Emblem Path of Radiance and Pokemon XD Gale of Darkness, and you know, both of those games are quite a few $100s. I probably won't be able to add them to my collection again unless I basically do a bunch of trade-ins and do it through store credit or something, because I do have my own policy of, you know, I don't pay more than what the original market value was for a certain game. That's just the way I kind of buy my own games, right? That way I keep things relatively, you know, affordable for me personally, right? So for a lot of these games, I want to replay them. I want to, like, play them again or stuff like that. So sometimes it's just like, you know, I wish I had that game, but something like Panic Restaurant, I'm not paying $1 or $2 grand for it, right? You know, and that's a really fun game, but yeah, it's not worth that much money. So, you know, that's another big reason. And then another reason that I do emulation too is I almost like to treat them as sort of demos for certain things, right? Because, you know, there's a lot of games I want to check out, and then sometimes you see price charting, and might have a game around 30-40 bucks, and that's kind of around where you see it on like eBay or your local game store or something like that, and you're not sure if you want to buy it, so I kind of use emulators as a demo of sorts, of like, okay, well, try this game out, see if I like it enough for me to maybe buy it, buy a physical copy, things like that, right? And yeah, now this isn't like super important to me because like it's I don't do this all the time, but it is handy to have. It's a handy thing why I like kind of emulation and everything, because you don't want to buy a game that you're just going to be done with in just a couple of days or something like that, right? Or you won't enjoy, right? So, whoops, I think I knocked my mic by accident, but yeah, that's kind of big thing, is just to try that, because another thing is like, which I should have talked about this bit before, but I would love to have a Sega Saturn, and a lot of the games I want to try and play, but, a lot of the stuff is very expensive, right? So that's another good way of me kind of trying out this system before maybe investing in it at some point, right? And yeah, so there's that. And then probably the last thing, which isn't to do with why I like emulation or anything, but it's kind of funny to talk about, and I almost call this the YouTube effect. And what I mean by this is because before YouTube, most of my emulation was pretty much DS and 3DS, when I just wanted to play one of those games on the big screen rather than my DS, right? And it's funny to think about that. Ever since I started YouTube, I've been more influenced to actually play and beat a lot more of my games, especially now that I do a video at the end of each month talking about games I beat. And so with that, it's kind of like, I have that, and then people tell me about all these other games to try out that, so I do more emulation that way. And then we also have just, a lot of the emulators really do a good job at making games look really, really nice and sharp, right? Because, everything's kind of run through your HDMI. You don't have to worry about all these converters or anything. It's just, kind of the emulation does that for you, right? And so, even when I own these games, sometimes I use emulation if I'm like showcasing a PS1 game, because the emulation looks way nicer than if I played the original PS1 copy, right? It all depends, because I do still really enjoy playing original hardware. Like, there is something special about that, for sure, because it's kind of like going back in time of a birthday or Christmas, since that's the only time I really got games, right? And I think it's kind of the same for most people, where didn't get a whole lot of games growing up. They were either, if you got some, they were presents, and for the rest of the games, you had to rent them, right? So, it is nice to have original hardware. I love collecting, I love playing that stuff, but for YouTube, it's kind of like, well, now that I'm kind of doing all this stuff, you're trying to figure out things or ways to make your videos look better and sharper and all that. So yeah, emulation does help with that for sure. So that's why I like to say the YouTube effect, because YouTube has really influenced me to kind of use emulation a lot more, right? And yeah, I think that's pretty much it. So, what do you all think? Do you agree, disagree with anything I said? Let me know in the comments. Let me know what you all think about emulation yourselves and how you use it, how you prefer, because I wasn't going to really go into details about all the different ones I use or anything, especially because I did a video on that. I might do kind of second parts where I just kind of go over each one I use at some point to maybe, because it might help a few people who might struggle how to maybe use it a little bit. But yeah, let me know what you all think, and I'll see you next time for more discussion videos along with other videos I do on my channel. Alright, thanks everyone, have a great rest of your day. Hey everyone, hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, be sure to leave a like and comment, and subscribe if you want to see more, or if you just want to see any of my skits and then nothing else and leave the video, that's fine too. Thanks everyone, take care.